Okay, peeps, welcome back. So today we're going to be going over LTCN and BCHG breaking out of resistance and heading to the next resistance zone, which is a big deal. And we're going to talk about a comment that a YouTuber, or not a YouTuber, but a person that posted on our YouTube channel left for us. So with that being said, let's get it. One other thing before we get into the content, we're also going to go over our own personal positions. So there's that as well. So first we'll do the positions, then we'll get into the comments. So here's our positions, as you guys can see in the grayscale trusts. So we are still sitting on some cash, just in case there is a massive drop in the market. We don't have to take the time, the days that it takes to transfer the money from the bank or wherever we're going to transfer it from into this account, because it's via wire or ACH, which takes a little while. We could just have the money sitting there collecting 5% interest or whatever the equivalent of the Fed funds rate is, because that's the way it works. When the Fed funds rate is high, the savings interest rates are high. So we just have it sitting here collecting passive income. We don't need to, wait a couple of days for money to show up, which is important, because if the drop is only a couple of days and it takes us a couple of days to get money over, well, then we miss the drop, right? So that's kind of the point of having the excess cash sitting on the side there. But anyways, with that being said, you guys can see that we have still BCHG, ETCG, a little bit of HZEN, not much. Still waiting for a drop on this one. And also LTCN. So nothing has really changed with our three main holdings here. We have not bought or sold anything. We're still sitting on the positions. So up 223%. On BCHG, that's more than a 3x at this point, which is amazing. Honestly, if we sold out of BCHG and LTCN right now, we would be happy with this. But we understand how the markets work. This is not the peak. I'm nearly 100% sure of that, because we have not seen the crazy moves in altcoins yet, which we're going to get into a little bit later in this video as to why that has not happened yet. But we're up 110% on LTCN. Massive moves today, up 25% just on BCHG alone, and LTCN 12%. ETCG is making a comeback too. We're only down basically about $100, but we're up 5% on the day. You can see our cost basis here. Cost basis on BCHG was really low, a little bit higher on LTCN, but we've already made I don't know exactly how much, like 5,000 or 6,000 or something like that on LTCN. So that's the reason why the cost base is a little bit higher. Our initial investment was like $5.50 a share, but no big deal. When one door closes, another one opens. There's infinite opportunities in the markets, and there's multiple different markets to be involved in. So that's what's going on with the portfolio. We're up currently 120% total, so pretty huge return so far, but nowhere near what we're going to see by the peak of the run. So let's take a look at this comment that I was telling you guys about. So I wanted to bring this up because this was kind of a particular nasty comment. So it's, I'm not going to mention the person's name, but it says, "Sincerely hope you do not get a chance anywhere near your estimates and miss out for the second time." Okay, so I want to clear some things up here. Number one, we made this YouTube channel to help other people. Okay, we have nearly a decade of experience in multiple different markets. The only markets we have not actively traded in is basically the credit markets and Forex. That's it. Okay, we've been in futures, we've been in stocks, we've been in crypto. We're now in options. It used to be we were never in options, but we're now in options too. Okay, so we've been in some of these markets for years. It's not like we just started. So we're transferring the knowledge that we have from previous markets to these markets. Okay, so this guy is saying, "Oh yeah, hope you miss out. You don't get a second chance or whatever." Well, we didn't, honestly, like a lot of people, we didn't really know about the grayscale trusts in the previous cycle. We didn't know about it in the summer of last year, or I should say spring of last year. We only kind of really were involved and invested in native crypto. So, unfortunately, we just didn't know about it at the time, like how we wish we had known about Bitcoin back in 2012 when it was only $10 a coin, right? But it is what it is. So there's two things I want to say to this. That this is what's going to happen sometimes if you make a YouTube channel and you create content that somehow adds value to somebody else's life, there's going to be a hater that's going to come out and say some stupid stuff like this. Okay. It's absolutely stupid. This guy's saying this, and literally between the time that we started this channel and now, between this guy saying this, we've pocketed, just from crypto alone, not including other things that we've done, well over 5 figures, multiple fold at this point. Okay. So for him to say this is almost kind of negligible and pointless. The second thing I want to bring up is we have not one, but 2 black metal credit cards. Okay. If you don't know what that is, go look it up. They're very exclusive. We'll just put it like that. And the third thing is, even if we did miss out on grayscale trusts and they don't hit our estimates and whatever, we're still going to cash out for profit. We don't care, because there's many different ways to make a fortune, okay, or to make enough to become financially independent on and, live free according to your own terms, or our terms in this case. Crypto is not the only way to become extremely wealthy. There is literally endless ways. As infinite as the monetary supply is in the world, it's as infinite as the ways that there is to make money. So anyways, that kind of covers that. Just wanted to bring that up. So not sure why that guy said that, but is what it is, I guess. Some people are just going to hate when you succeed. That's just what it is. I mean, we're not going to waste our time with nonsense like that. We're spending our time productively trying to get stuff done. So anyways, let's get into the content now. So LTCN, as you guys can see, it's starting to barely poke its head out above this resistance zone. Keep in mind, the current support is still $12.50 to $15. Resistance $23.40 to about $27. So pretty much what we told you guys is that if it breaks out of this resistance, there's really only 2 places that we can see that this thing will get stopped. Maybe somewhere around $75, but if not, it gets stopped probably, or at least has temporary, like the bear step in a little bit and try to stop the price from going higher. $100 to $135, but that's going to be relatively short-lived in my opinion, because crypto is very aggressive, and even Bitcoin is notorious for smashing resistance levels like they weren't even there. Those of you guys that have been in crypto for a long time, you know what I'm talking about. So the measured move from that point to the $75 level is a massive 171, 172% gain. And then to the next major resistance is 252 to about nearly 400%. So we'll reiterate one more time kind of the Fibonacci's here. So some pretty crazy levels. It's hard to believe that this is even possible, but in my opinion, I do believe it's possible. So I would say 1.618, definitely a possibility, $800. Even the 2.618 is definitely a possibility. That's roughly about $1,300, so that's nearly 100x from where we got in. These 2 higher levels, not really so sure about that. We'll just have to wait and see how the markets kind of play out. So if we actually scroll over to the daily time frame, and this is what I want to point out to you guys, whether this is going to play out exactly or not, we'll just have to wait and see. So you guys can see that we have a green candle close above this resistance zone. So gap up and then a big candle close. That's a good sign, right? So if we go back in time, you guys can see that on the resistance zone, we never actually had a green candle close above this zone on the daily. Basically from the bear market swing high, and then it dropped lower from that point. We only saw a wick up to the top of the resistance, but there was no body candle. So that's very bullish. Okay. Now, how quickly LTCN will move up to that $100 level is anybody's guess. We don't know. We're not fortune tellers. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. We just kind of have an estimated thesis of where we think things are going based on technical analysis. And, if we turn out to be right, great. If not, well, it's probably still going to go up anyway, so I don't think it really matters. So BCHG, very similar. So we'll go over the zones here again. So current resistance, 1028 to 1250. If this becomes support, then the next resistance is $18 to $20.25. And then the previous support somewhere around that $7 to $8 levels down below that. So it is poking its head out of that resistance. It could possibly go up to the next level. Let's take a look at the daily time frame here. So once again, popped out of that resistance zone. So we had a gap up here, as you guys can see, and then this thing just absolutely smashed up 25% on the day, which is a huge move for anything in the markets, especially in stocks. That's a Those of you guys that have done swing trades in stocks or invest in stocks, you know just how big a 25% move is. It's absolutely massive. So we did have a excuse me. So we did have a green candle close above resistance during the bear market swing high here, but as you guys can see, it did not come back, retest as support, and bounce. So this doesn't really count in my opinion because it's not a bullish trend, it's a bearish trend, so it's a little bit different. But as soon as it popped out of there, it basically got shot straight back down. Now, is that likely to happen this time around? In my opinion, no. And that's because we're in an overall bull trend. As you guys can see, the price action back here was clearly below the EMAs. This would have been perfect for a short swing trade or a short day trade, even if people can't even day trade this, I'm not sure. But as you guys can see, if we scroll back all the way over to the right, this is clearly the opposite. We are well above the EMAs at this point. The EMAs are moving up. We're breaking through resistance zones. So this is very clearly a bullish trend. So the measured move from the current level to the next level would be about 42 to about 58%. If it does pull back, it's your choice if you want to wait for that. We've been positioned since like way down here somewhere, so we're not too worried about it. Again, would be that $7 to $8 level. That would be the next lower support zone. So you'd be looking at 48 to about 78% and 155 to almost 185%. So pretty huge move there. HZEN, this one is currently testing the flip zone. So basically, you guys are probably wondering, what is a flip zone? Okay, a flip zone is basically TLDR for support turn resistance or resistance turn support. This was resistance, came up, got smashed back down into support. Now it's potentially flipping the resistance into support. So current support is between $7 to about $8. Next resistance zone is 1130-ish to about 1230. So if we take the measured move from the current level to the next level, it's going to be about 40 to 53%. So that would be HZEN. I mean, there is a weekly death cross here, but on the MACD, and that's usually a pretty bearish sign. But the only MACD death cross we actually really take seriously that we look at is Bitcoin, because again, Bitcoin moves the market. So if we get a death cross on Bitcoin, that's a big yikes. But we haven't seen that yet, thank God. If we do, we will definitely let you guys know ASAP. So ETCG is the next one that we hold. This one is also looking very similar to HZEN, so it's retesting support, previous resistance. So that support zone is going to be roughly about $13.10 to about $16. $17.70 to about $20 is the next potential resistance. I just want to let you guys know, so 11% to 26% is going to be at least the minimum move. The maximum move here could be anywhere from 34 to about 54%. Anyways, so before I get into the next, this next one, GXLM, I want to make a brief mention here that BlackRock has, don't quote me on this, but last time I checked, I believe BlackRock did file for a spot Ether ETF with the SEC. That's the deadline for that's supposed to be coming up in May. And they're also getting involved in tokenization of assets. So we'll get more into this in detail in the future when it becomes more relevant. We're just going to kind of sit back and watch and see how things play out at this point. But if BlackRock gets what they want, which they have a nearly perfect record of approvals, I think it's like 576 out of 577 ever have been approved. So they only ever got one denied. So the chances are really good that they're going to get it approved. But if it gets approved, Ethereum and ETH Classic are going to do crazy, crazy bullish moves, kind of like how we've seen Bitcoin do. Bitcoin's not even supposed to be at highs right now. Bitcoin is not supposed to be at all-time highs for like another 9 months. That's how crazy the spot Bitcoin ETFs have been for the price of Bitcoin. Just imagine what it could do for Ether. So anyways, GXLM, still trying to turn this into a flip zone. So I would say this is potentially becoming support. We got a candle poking out of here, but we really don't know yet if that's going to play out or not. So on the weekly, you can see a different story here. So it is still clearly resistance. You got all these wicks up here. So I would say the support still currently is between 28 to 45. This could turn into support, but for now it's resistance 53 to 58 and 74 all the way up to 95. So let's just assume that this is support and you want to wait to get back in down here. You'd be looking at about 60 to 77%, 125% to about 192%. But if you wanted to get it now or somewhere on this retest, you'd be still be looking at pretty good returns. So about 33% to about 73% respectively. ETH, this one is coming back and testing resistance and support. So I would say at this point, it looks very much like it could be turning into a support zone, especially with the EMA sitting down there. So support's going to be between 26 to about 29, 41 to 47 on the resistance. And just so you all know, Ethereum generally runs right after Bitcoin does, and Bitcoin's at all-time highs. So keep that in mind. Anyways, 61 to about 87% move on that. So Zcash, this one is also trying to break out, very similar to LTCN. I think it's likely that this that this resistance will become support, but we'll just have to wait and see. So 740 to about 810, $14 to $17 up there at the highs. If you chose to get in now, it'd be about a 65 to about 101% move. The next support zone below that, which is still by the EMAs, is roughly $4.50 to $5. GSOL. So what's interesting about this actually kind of looks like a bull flag on the weekly. I don't know if you guys can see it, but we'll just kind of draw it out here a little bit. It's going to look a little funky, so just bear with me. So it's a bit wide, but yeah, that kind of does look like either a triangle pattern or a bull flag. If it does break bullish, that's going to be a huge move. So it starts at support, ends at the top here. Let's just say that breakout point happens this week. I mean, this thing could go all the way up to $900. It's possible, but it's also possible it could dump too. There's no guarantees until the move's confirmed. Would we buy it right now, anticipating a $900 price on GSOL? No, we would not. So I would still say support is between $180 to about $200. Maybe you could even get in at $250 if you got in somewhere down there. Just to get back to where we are now, 100%, and to the top would be about 175%. So Mana, this one also looks very bullish. So you got these candle tops here, plus this kind of like diagonal trend line here. If we draw this in, you can kind of see like this trend line thing going on here. I would say that's a very bullish formation. If we get a breakout, it's going to be a pretty big move, I'll tell you that. So again, support is down by the EMAs, in my opinion, which is going to be somewhere between $17.40 to $20. I would not buy it if it was this high off the EMAs. That's just me. Because again, there's going to be opportunities everywhere in the markets. A lot of retail traders get wrecked when it comes to trading or investing because they buy at the top. They think it's just going to keep going up when it's already overextended. If anything, our years of investing have taught us to not trade with our emotions, because it can be a really, really bad idea. So 180% to about 300% on the move. And again, that's not financial advice. You guys can do what you want with your own money, but I'm just saying, when things get overextended like this to the upside, they also generally get slammed back to the downside. There's a saying in markets that goes like this, okay? The markets take the stairs on the way up and the elevator on the way down. For those of you guys that don't know, that's pretty much what happened right here on GSOL when we saw this red candle. So that would be an elevator move right there, a big nasty 70% drop on a weekly candle. Anyways, so moving on from Mana, we're going to take a look at GBAT. So this one actually looks, I'd say, very similar to Mana and GSOL, potentially a bull flag pattern going on there or some kind of triangle. I would still argue that support is between $7 to $17. So if you got in somewhere in the middle, the move would be pretty large. It'd be about 200%. G-Link, yeah, this one's kind of flat on the week. That's a bit weird. So I know that The Chainlink token is not at all-time highs, but this one is, so that just goes to show you guys the power of the premiums. So 65 to about $85 is going to be roughly about the support zone. A move up from that point would be roughly about 193% move. PhilG, this one, again, another good example of what happens when people FOMO into the top. They usually get dumped on by smart money or whales or institutions. So you can see this huge move here, roughly about a 50% drop. Imagine having, like, looking at this thing all the way up here at the top and like, oh yeah, I'm going to put like $100,000 in. And then your entire position just gets cut in half. You guys can see why we have multiple different positions, right? Just saying. Rotation is good. I'm cool with rotation, but we don't think it's a good idea with the Fed tightening cycle to be too super concentrated, because it could potentially end really badly. Just my opinion, of course, but support's going to be between 71.50 to I would say about the top of this wick here, so about $120 or so. Measured move from that point is pretty huge. So about a 350% gain. I mean, that's a big move if you can manage to catch that. So GLIV, this thing is just all over the place. It doesn't know what it wants to do at this point. So support would be roughly about 1725 to 2650. The move from that point would be also pretty large. It'd be nearly 300%. So anyways, hope you all enjoyed this content. This is our content on the Grayscale Trust. LTCN and BCHG does look very bullish. It does look like it's going to start pushing to new highs, or new cycle highs, I should say. So anyways, with that being said, please like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see y'all later. Peace.